spoke about the 5 different mirrors that people look at to help them determine who they are. I spoke about your own mirror, how you view yourself based on other factors around you, and you make your own personal conclusion that I think this is who I am. Then you have the mirror of your parents and family members. Those are the first human beings that you encounter when you came to the world. And their own paradigm kind of affects the way you are shaped in a way. And I spoke about patriarchal families, how they kind of suppress the identity of their children to fit what they had in mind without getting to know those children. And that really distorted a lot of people's identity and affected their life. I spoke about society, mirror, the environment you are can affect how you see yourself. I specifically mentioned the educational system as a mirror. If you encounter a teacher that feels that you don't know what you know, and they made those conclusions, that can affect you. It can affect you psychologically as well. It can affect your motivation. Then the entertainment system also is a mirror that make you want to be like some people that are famous. And some fame doesn't mean that those people really know their own purpose. Some of them are just confused on the platform to perform. And people see them with the glamour and everything, and they want to pattern their life like theirs. And some of these people are crying for discovery of purpose. And it's obvious, like I was reading a newsletter or the news couple of days ago, and they were highlighting how many celebrities committed suicide this year. At least I can mention 3 that committed suicide this year, and that tells you something. Despite the fame and everything, what will make them just want to end it all? And then I spoke about demonic mirror, how the devil want you to see yourself, and I spoke about the mirror of God. So this evening we're going to be looking at your own mirror, and I will be talking about David. So I'm having this conversation about David. David had a view of himself based on the kind of relationship he kept. And he viewed himself as an abandoned kid who has to totally depend on God. That was how David viewed himself. You know how I know that? If you read some of his songs, his poem, you will realize that he was a lonely person. Lonely people, I'm not saying I'm lonely, but lonely people tend to write. Lonely people tend to sing. It may not be negative, but it takes solitude for you to be able to sit down and write. If you're like a social bee all over the place, it may be difficult for you to write. So writing poems and songs is one sign that he was always into himself. And it's obvious. And when you read the book of Psalms 27 verses 9 to 10, that's very profound, because he made it clear there that you've always been right there for me. It's talking about God now. Don't turn your back on me now. Don't throw me out. Don't abandon me. You've always kept the door open. My father and mother walked out and left me, but God took me in. That's one of the songs he wrote in Psalm 27 verses 1 to 2. And if you look at that song, that's really kind of helped David to see himself in the light of God's perception about him, because that's the person he spent most of his time with. And if you looking at the song again, you see a lot of his songs are about God. There was no song that he wrote about his wives or his children. It was more about God giving him victory, God helping him, God is being his shield and rock and fortress and banner. And that really helped him to learn to trust in God. because he spent a lot of time with God. He knew God more than an average person. And that played out in the face of difficult situation and desperation, because that's all he had. But the person you call when you are in a desperate situation, the helps to tell the depth of your relationship with that person. And David, in his desperate moment, always turned to God. And seeing himself in the mirror of God was not difficult. So I'm trying to establish that the person you spend the most time with is going to influence the way you feel yourself, the way you see yourself. And that's very important. And he didn't see the rejection from his parents as a deficiency. He saw it as an opportunity. So when you're rejected, what do? Do you see it as like, oh, the whole world is crumbling upon me, just by myself, my lonely self? He didn't see that as something that took away from his life, but he converted those times of rejection to times of investment of time in writings. And thousands of years after he was gone, we're still reading his writings. Whereas some people, when they are rejected, they turn to drugs, alcoholism, and different kind of things to make up. And I'm telling us this evening, like, rejection shouldn't be something that should make us form bad habits. It's something that should help us look inward and seek acceptance in a positive environment. Can I say that again? Rejection should push you to seek acceptance in a positive environment. And one person that I know will always accept us no matter what, no matter where you are, how bad people think you are, how irrelevant people think you are, is God. God does not give up on anybody. So when he got to the forefront of the battle, it was not difficult for him to confront Goliath. It was not difficult because he had spent so much time with God. He understood the subject of covenant. When the military people were running away from the fight, he didn't see the fight as his own fight because of the relationship he had with God. He saw it as God's fight, and he was so bold enough because he had experienced God in lonely times. And I said something here that what you do in your lonely moments will determine your public victories. If in your lonely moment you're depressed, you can predict whether you're going to be victorious in battle or you're going to be a defeat. But if in your lonely moment you're positive about life and you turn to God, you worship, because he built his spirit man. Even though he looked weak and feeble physically, he was not weak spiritually. He was very strong spiritually, and that was why he could use the spiritual weapon that he knew to fight Goliath. And when all those people were running away and they were jittering, he was like, you know what, this is not my battle. I've experienced God in my lonely times, and I've seen him come through for me. When nobody was there, I faced the bear. When nobody was there, I faced the lion. So I know the God I serve. I have a relationship with him. I've seen myself in his mirror. And the mirror that he showed me is a mirror of victory. It's a covenant mirror that as long as I'm on his camp, as long as I'm on his side, I cannot fail in any battle. And guess what? He won. To the dismay of everybody, the trained army, he won because he didn't see the mirror. We're going to be talking about the other mirrors, but I want to focus on his own mirror. The mirror he was seeing was what helped him to secure the victories. And I'm asking you tonight, what mirror are you looking at to determine your life, your decisions, your choices? What mirror are you looking at?